Good afternoon. We're rolling into another episode of Who Closed Last Night?
Brought to you by Walnut Street Hospitality Group. And my name is Zach.
And my name is Stan. And I don't want to say that we're going to enlighten you, but we like to bring up things that maybe you've thought about but haven't expressed. Or maybe you hit this stumbling block and you need someone to kind of push you over it.
Nothing helps you move forward like someone relating to you and understanding you.
And someone who's been there, done that, and has the scars to prove it, right?
Oh.
So we got lots of scars, by the way. But before we do this, we always got to ask for your help. You know, we're trying to build a following and a viewership, and we'd like to tell you how you can help us out.
And it takes literally just a little bit of seconds and costs you nothing. But if you will all just stop what you're doing, follow, like, and share us. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at whoclosedlastnight_. You can follow us on Facebook at whoclosedlastnight. You can watch us and listen to us on YouTube and Spotify at Who Closed Last Night Podcast. And you can send your hate mail, your topics you'd like us here, topics you'd like us to speak about, questions maybe that pertain to anything we've spoken about, or something just that you think you should ask us. You can send any and all of that to whoclosedlastnightpod, P-O-D, at gmail.com. We'd love to respond to you. We'd love to feature that on our podcast, and we'd love to keep entertaining you. So
entertainment is what we call it, but really we want to help you. I think that's the whole, that's what prompted us to do this in the first place, is hopefully to be of some assistance to someone. I know that in my past, there are times I wish that I could have listened to a podcast and said, oh, I get it. I didn't understand it that way, but we're pretty no nonsense, straightforward kind of guys. We're not going to flower it with a whole bunch of perfume. We're just going to tell you the way we think it is. You don't have to agree with us. You don't have to like it. But that's why you can, that's why we're in America. So you don't have to listen to us. So today we're going to talk about gratitude. And gratitude covers a whole lot of ground. But one of the things that I think as I've gone through my last several years that I've tried to improve in myself is the art of gratitude. And I would tell you, it's not just gratitude that, you got to tell people that you appreciate them, that you got to do this, that you got to do that. I think sometimes you have to look within and realize that you have a lot of things probably to feel grateful for. And I think until you kind of take a step back and look inside yourself, it's hard to express gratitude to others. You have to express it to yourself first. My opinion, I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I know it's helped me to understand where I am. So I'm hoping that maybe this podcast can help you to understand where you are and maybe push you in a slightly different direction.
Wow, that was pretty deep. And I got to say that I like what you said there, the art of gratitude. That should be a book.
Honestly, it might be, actually. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I got that, but
I think that I think you're right, and you got me over here thinking deep and hard. There's things in your life you got to be grateful for, and we take it for granted, right?
Well, I think it's so easy to get caught up in the things that are not what you think they should be, that you forget about the things that are the way that they are in the right way. And so, I do, we've talked on this before about my morning,
Hike?
jaunts. And I would tell you that I've learned so much about myself because I kind of try to alternate what I do, because it's, it can be anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the distance. But I think one of the things that I try to do is split my time between thinking about what happened the day before, thinking about how I can be better than I was the day before, thinking about what I have to do that day. But now I've added this, and it's, probably just in the last couple of years, what do I have to be thankful for? What do I have to be grateful for that I overlook? And, I think until you look inside, we all have this. I know we all have this. We all think that other people aren't grateful for the things that we do. And I think that's where you have to kind of take responsibility yourself to be grateful for what you are without having to have other people, without external gratefulness. You got to be able to do it yourself. And
don't wait for someone else to praise you.
Don't wait for someone else to say, hey, I did that.
Yeah.
Right? Or you did that, right? I think you got to take it upon yourself to find those positive aspects of your life, be grateful for them, and then it kind of calms you down for the rest of everything, right? And that's something
sense.
that I've learned. So I guess, how do you handle, well, one of the things that I always think that you have to be careful of is handing out gratitude like candy. Because then people start to just think, it's easy. Life's
Bullshit.
easy. And I also think that insincere gratitude, people can read it, right? They can feel it. They can read it. They know that you're just spouting bullshit to them for some reason or another. And so I think one of the first things that I would like to say is, if you don't have any sincere gratitude or thanks or positive communication that you want to pass along, then don't just make it up.
That's true.
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. And to your overly praising people, if everybody gets a trophy, what's a trophy count for?
Well, today all you need is to participate, right?
Oh, man.
Participation trophies. Come on. Hey, I got up and went on the field.
That's right.
And you get a trophy.
That's right.
You participated, right? Everybody, it's kind of interesting because one of the big things nowadays that's being questioned by some therapists and older people is, are we creating a generation of people that have no incentive because they get the same trophy
Hand it to them.
as the winners get?
That's right.
Right? So they get to show up, put on their shoes, whatever it is, go out on the field, suck at it, and they get to play and have to play because of today's, politically correct
I'm glad you took that.
culture.
And said
Yeah.
that. Yeah. That's looking down the road, that can get scary.
I think it's already scary, but I think, we're
Straying here.
We're straying here. But I think that when you give out fake gratitude or gratitude to everybody for the same thing, whether or not they deserved it, it doesn't have any effect.
I would agree with that. You can't praise the person that worked their tail off to produce the result and the person that sat on their tail in the same room. You can't both say, hey, good job, team, right?
Yeah.
Because that turns off the person that just busted their chops for you, right?
Yeah.
I also would say that I think that being aware and noticing when someone's put in the effort or made a change, or just being cognizant of, wow, like this place is way more organized. Something that's a small point, but when you notice it right away, I think that can be very impactful and appreciated.
I would agree. I think almost any sincere gratitude is appreciated.
That's right.
And respected. And sometimes you have to dig a little bit, right, to find that gratitude or to find the reason for the gratitude. And that's part of the change that I think that people from my generation need to work on is you got to find the reasons to celebrate, right? And I think those are things that I've learned from some of the people that I've worked with. We're trying to get a big deal, and we got a meeting for the big deal. And what I've learned to accept is, we could have not gotten that meeting. So
90% of people didn't.
The 90% of the people didn't get that meeting, so we need to celebrate the little victories as well as the big victories. And I think we get so caught up in the light at the end of the tunnel, we forget that we're halfway through the tunnel.
Celebrate the little battles that lead up to whether or not you win the war.
That's exactly it. And one of the things that I think from a gratitude standpoint is so impactful is a sincere thank you, right? And I think those two words, kind of like you're welcome, kind of like, my pleasure. Oh,
Yeah,
whatever.
Whoa. People are going to be offended.
But I think a sincere thank you, I know when I've pulled people aside and said, hey, I just want to thank you for taking care of that or handling it the way you handled it, goes a long way. Because not very many people do that at all anymore.
I think I would agree with you. And I think manners are lost in the wind. Unfortunately, I'm a proponent of manners and thank yous and pleases and all that good stuff. It used to be good stuff. Now it's not.
Just depends who's listening.
That's right.
What are some of the things, that you have found when you've spoken to people that turn the switch on in their eyes? That light them up a little bit.
Yeah, I think like you said, when it's genuine and you can say, hey, when you did this, when that person was upset about them coming to work or being called in on their day off, and you stopped them right there and said, hey, as part of when I hired you as part of your role as an assistant manager, it was to come in and cover shifts when we needed you. And I just got to tell you that we appreciate you coming in and thank you for coming in and saving the team today, right? But that does, in my mind, that does two things. One, it kind of takes the bite out of, they signed up for it. They were aware of it. That was an agreement that we held as a team, right? And then on the backside of that, giving them the same praise and saying, hey, but you saved the day today, right? You made this happen because without you, we would have been chasing the ball all day.
Yep.
And I think, like you said, that can be very impactful, and it doesn't take a lot to turn that tide in their head. Just being upset or sassy about it, right? From looking at it through a different set of lenses and saying, well, you're right, I am the assistant manager. I did agree to that. It is an inconvenience today, but I was able to take care of my team.
Yeah. I think that's those little thank yous help out. And every now and then, it's nice to, get a little something special for someone that they like. Just as a hey, we're thinking about you. Don't think that we don't notice this. So, you got a day off coming up, and we know you like bourbon, and
that's right.
Here's some good bourbon to sip on your day off and relax a little bit.
Relax a little. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
you earned it. I think that also shows that you know them.
Yeah.
Right. That it's not just a service level relationship or such a employer or you know them personally. You paid attention to who they are.
Yeah.
And I think that can be very surprising to some people.
I think that's probably surprising to a lot of people. But again, along with the gratitude, you have to remember that false sincerity, false gratitude will make the people that really do work hard and deserve the gratitude, it'll make them feel like,
turn them off.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? It just plain doesn't matter.
If they're going to get the participation trophy, why do I have to get 7 touchdowns this game?
Yeah, instead they got one for showing up, right? Strapping on their shoes.
Yeah.
And I
think got no grass stains.
No grass stains on my uniform. So anyway, I think I'm going to just kind of go back and kind of wrap this up into a neat little package. But I think the first place that gratitude starts is within yourself, right? You have to recognize the things that you've done well, just like you have to recognize the things that you don't do well. And I think you have to be thankful for especially as a boomer, I'm going to run that into the ground. But as a boomer, and you get to a certain age, and you do 5 miles a day, and you think to yourself, you know what? You know how grateful I am that I can do that. And I just had a friend, 6 months younger than me. He was one of the Musketeers of the 3 Musketeers of this little group that we had. And last week he passed away. And he'd been battling prostate cancer for a couple of years, but he passed away last week, or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry. And it really made me feel how lucky I am to be the same age, and have grown up with this guy, but still be able to do the things that I did 5 years ago or 6 years ago from a physical standpoint. That I'm, I still can remember my name and things like that, because the 3rd Musketeer has dementia.
Wow.
So I'm the remaining Musketeer that has, is relatively normal.
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth. And
puts life into perspective.
It does, but that's something to be grateful for, right?
That's
right. If you can get out there and move, be grateful. If you see a beautiful sunset in the morning,
wow,
be grateful for it, right?
That's right.
Because not everyone sees that. And I think after you can be grateful with those internal type of things, it makes it easier to be grateful,
towards other people.
Towards other people or the events that could drive you crazy.
That's right. That's right. If you got people out there loving you, you should be grateful for it.
Yeah.
Right? Some people don't have that. We woke up this morning. We should be grateful for that.
And that sounds so canned, but it's true.
That's true.
Okay,
That's true.
So you guys probably thought you were in church. We are leaving church now, and we're getting back to our podcast. So again, the message is be grateful, express gratitude, understand gratitude and what other people need from you to make them feel like they're appreciated. Anything to add to that?
No, I think you summed that up in a nice little package, real nice and neat. But I do have a request for our audience out there. If you could help us out one more time for this podcast, will you follow, like, and share? You can find us on Instagram at whoclosedlastnight_. That'll be the same on TikTok at whoclosedlastnight_. You can follow us, like us, and share us on Facebook at whoclosedlastnight. You can watch us and listen to us on YouTube and Spotify at Who Closed Last Night podcast. And the best of them all is send us your feedback, your questions, some topics you'd love to listen to us talk about to whoclosedlastnightpod, POD, @gmail.com.
With that being said, some more feedback. A few weeks ago, we did a podcast and we called it The Blame Game, right? So everybody's got a reason why they can't succeed. Oh, I couldn't be successful here because Billy had yellow hair that day. I couldn't be successful here because it was raining outside. Everybody, no, I shouldn't say everybody, but there are people that blame people for their lack of success or their issues. And one of the comments, and the interesting thing here is that most of the comments that we got about this were positive.
That's
and
good.
I thought for sure that, there was going to be like some kind of target on my forehead. But this was quite simply, someone sent, it said, "Go Boomers with a heart." Oh my God, I'm about to cry. Be grateful for that, right? So thank you to that person, and I appreciate that a lot. With that being said, we're wrapping up this episode.
That's right.
and getting ready to move on. And we like to leave you with one word, and that one word is aloha.